जननी जन्मभूमिश्च स्वर्गादपि गरीयसी।
Good morning and welcome to Sagarmatha Television. Sagarmatha is a Nepali name for Mount Everest, the highest mountain in the world. It is also known as a rooftop of the world. Sagarmatha Television is the first Nepali television program ever to be produced and broadcasted outside of Nepal in the Nepalese history. Namaste, this is Indu Pokhrel, your host for today's program. Now, before we move further, let's learn another fact about Nepal. Dear viewers, did you all know that Nepal has more than 360 species of orchid, which consist over 2% of the world's orchids? In addition to that, Nepal has 8% of the total species of birds found in the entire world. That's quite interesting, isn't it? Now, as always, we would like to thank our supportive underwriters who help make Sagarmatha Television possible in part. Welcome back to the program. As you all know, the first segment of our show is Vivid Sangalo. This segment includes the national song, news from Nepal and Nepalese living all around the world, community activities, entertainment, and much more. Well, viewers, let's not wait any further. Here is Vivid Sangalo presented to you by Mr. Bipin Raj Uprati.
आस्थाको बुरबुरे माटो माथि माथि उठाउँदै हत्केला यी उचालिन्छन् सिर्जना श्री जुटाउँदै शङ्ख घोष गरौँ आजै खुल्दै बिहान आउँछ उदाई घामले हाम्रै मस्तिष्कमा चियाउँछ राष्ट्रले सपना देख्यो एउटा व्यस्त निदानमा म मिठो सिर्जना दिन्छु उठी एउटा बिहानमा म आफ्नै मनमा फुल्छु सुनौला सृष्टि च्याउँछु म आफ्नै वनमा फुल्छु सिँगै बसन्त ल्याउँछु म आफ्नै वनमा फुल्छु सिँगै बसन्त ल्याउँछु। फुलको देशमा कविता सङ्ग्रहबाट लिएका यी आस्थाको गीत कविताका यी केही हरफहरूसहित आजको विविध सङ्गालो कार्यक्रमबाट म विपिन राज उप्रेतीको नमस्कार। आदरणीय दर्शकवृन्द, आज मे 29 तारिक इस्वी सम्वत 2016 तदनुसार विक्रम सम्वत 2073 साल ज्येष्ठ 16 गते आइतबार नवमी तिथि। अब यहाँलाई स्वागत छ आजको यो विविध सङ्गालो कार्यक्रममा। आदरणीय दर्शकवृन्द, अब आउनुहोस् आजको यो विविध सङ्गालो कार्यक्रम सुरु गरौँ सदा चाहिँ यो एउटा नेपाली राष्ट्रिय गीतबाट। यहाँहरू हेर्दै हुनुहुन्थ्यो सगरमाथा टेलिभिजन नेपाल प्रतिनिधि सरिता लामेछानेबाट प्राप्त एउटा राष्ट्रिय गीत। आदरणीय दर्शकवृन्द, सगरमाथा टेलिभिजन नेपालको इतिहासमा विदेशमा चलेको सबैभन्दा पहिलो नेपाली टेलिभिजन कार्यक्रम हो। सगरमाथा टेलिभिजन इस्वी सम्वत 1996 मा वर्ल्ड भ्यू टेलिभिजनमा सुरु भई अहिले एमएसजी नेटवर्क्सबाट यो डिसी क्षेत्रमा नियमित रूपमा प्रसारण भइरहेको छ, जुन स्याटेलाइट मार्फत अमेरिका भरि र वेबसाइट मार्फत संसारभरिका दर्शकहरू सामु पुगेको छ।
लाग्छ प्यारो गाउँ पाखा भी अगनीमा आमाको माया छ भन्छन् टाढा हुँदा मेरो मनमा दर्शन नेपाल दर्शन नेपाल दर्शन
यो थियो हाम्रो दोस्रो प्रस्तुति नेपाल दर्शन टेलिभिजनको एक झलक। नेपाल दर्शन टेलिभिजन अहिले हरेक आइतबार दिउँसो 12 बजे अर्थात् यो कार्यक्रमको लगत्तैपछि यही एमएचजी नेटवर्क्समा प्रसारण हुँदैछ। नेपाल दर्शन टेलिभिजनको एक मुख्य उद्देश्य हो नेपालको परिचय विदेशीहरूलाई दिई उनीहरूलाई नेपाल घुम्न आकर्षण गर्नु अर्थात् नेपालको पर्यटन प्रवर्धनमा सहयोग पुर्याउनु। आदरणीय दर्शकवृन्द, अब एकैछिन लागौँ कुराकानीतर्फ, जसमा हामीसँग हुनुहुन्छ नेपालका लागि पूर्व अमेरिकी राजदूत स्कट DeLisi.
Dear viewers, today we have a career diplomat and ambassador to 3 different countries who joined US State Department Foreign Services in 1981 and served as a political officer in Pakistan, chief political officer in Sri Lanka, deputy chief of mission in Botswana, and served as the ambassador in Eritrea. After Eritrea, he served as the US ambassador to Nepal and Uganda. Now he is retired from his foreign services and opened his non-profit organization called Survey Foundation to serve rebuilding Nepal. He is none other than Honorable Scott DeLisi. Honorable DeLisi, welcome to Sagarmatha Television.
Thank you. I'm so honored to be here today, and I know about your TV station, and I've followed it since I was ambassador. And now finally we have a chance to be together, and that's a good thing.
This is your second interview on Sagarmatha Television.
Yeah.
Remember we met in Kathmandu?
Absolutely. But I know we've wanted to do this here in America for a long time.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad we now have the chance.
Yeah, we discussed about that. And most of our viewers don't know about. And would you mind telling my viewers who you are, what you do?
At one time, I was an American diplomat, and I spent 34 years serving the United States of America as a diplomat. Served in a wide array of countries, but much of my time was spent and focused on South Asia, including Nepal. Many years ago, I was the Nepal desk officer in the State Department, and I traveled to Nepal in my first posting when I was in Bombay, and I began to fall in love with your country, with what I have come to think of as our country on many levels. And then I had the honor to serve as ambassador to Nepal. And Nepal particularly captured my heart and my imagination. But I've done many things for the State Department over the years. I was also ambassador in Eritrea, ambassador to Uganda most recently. And I retired in November of last year. And the next day, I went to work for Nepal. And I'm now the executive director of the Survey Foundation, which is a foundation that is dedicated to working in partnership with Nepalis to build a stronger, safer, more resilient nation. So I guess you would say that I'm a person whose life has directed me into service, into serving both my own nation, but perhaps the nation of Nepal as well.
Yeah, you just mentioned about your foundation, and my second question lead to that. What is your foundation means, and what is your role on it?
Well, the foundation was actually created last year before the earthquakes. And you know, Ron, when I was ambassador, one of the things that we focused on so much was disaster risk reduction and preparedness. We all knew that there would be an earthquake, and we knew we needed to find a way to address the challenges associated with it. And the foundation was created while I was still ambassador in Uganda with that idea in mind, the idea of risk reduction and preparedness. When I came on board, though, after I retired, we realized that risk reduction and preparedness in post-earthquake Nepal had to have a broader dimension. That we not only needed to help address the needs of the people in 14 districts, the thousands, millions of people who were affected by the quake, but we also had to continue the effort to prepare for future quakes. And we knew that preparedness and risk reduction was more than just building a strong house or building a strong school. It was about building strong communities and about building a strong nation. So the foundation today is focused, as I say, on partnerships with the Nepali people, with Nepali organizations dedicated to building that stronger, safer, more resilient society. And that includes economic growth, it includes addressing social needs, it's looking at health, it's looking at a wide array of things as we build these partnerships with strong groups on the ground in Nepal. You don't need us to come in and reinvent the wheel. There are many Nepalis who know their country, who know the communities in which they work, and who have the trust of those communities. Those are the people that we seek to partner with. And in doing that, we also hope to bring in the many people in the United States who care about Nepal, but who don't know perhaps how to best direct their resources and their efforts.
We are honored to have you back in Nepal, but you served 3 countries as an ambassador and many other countries as a different diplomatic position. But why did you choose Nepal on your retirement?
I think I alluded to it earlier. During the course of my career, I served in many countries. I saw a compelling need on many levels across the globe. But there are few places that captured my heart the way that Nepal has. You know, the country of Nepal is a beautiful country. And the beauty is very important, and it brings people there, and the adventure and climbing the mountains and exploring all the dimensions of the society. And the rich cultural heritage is also very important, and again, it captures the imagination. But it's the people of Nepal, more than anything else, I think, that truly resonate for those who visit. There's something about the people of your nation. There is a decency and openness, a degree of tolerance within the society, a welcoming nature. There's so much. And I think people, if they meet Nepalis, they say, we want to be part of this. We want to help. We want to engage. So, recognizing there are many things that I could have done in retirement, the fact that I had the opportunity to direct my efforts on behalf of Nepal, it was a no-brainer, as we say. It was a very easy choice for me.
I remember that, you or your foundation were leading, and Suman Timsina, Pursue Nepal, myself, Suresh Sapkota, and Mukesh Singh, all other fellow, we visited to Marathon also.
Right.
And looking at that, you were really focusing on helping Nepal, Nepal rebuilding. How can your foundation contribute to rebuilding Nepal? And what are the project or what are the process already undertaken?
Okay. Well, again, when we talk about rebuilding Nepal, we have to recognize that this is a huge undertaking, and no foundation, like the Sorway Foundation, is going to by itself manage to do the rebuilding of Nepal. This is a task for government, for international partners. It's on a large scale. But the question is, so what can you do on a smaller scale? And I do believe, and in talking to many people in Nepal, there's a sense that that thoughtful projects, smart projects that empower communities, that show people you don't have to wait for government always. You don't have to wait for donors. You can take control of your lives. You can build a better future. You can shape your own destiny. Projects that are catalytic, that are good examples, good models for how we can build for a better future. These are all the sorts of things we're looking at. But so what are we doing so far? And we'll continue this effort as long as we can continue to raise money. It's always a challenge, but we're working on this. We have done an array of things. We have partnered with Mission Rebuild Nepal, which is a Nepali 501c3 charitable organization based in Northern Virginia, and they have an NGO in Nepal as well. And we are building 1,000 transitional shelters in Sindhupalchok, for example. And the Sorway Foundation has contributed to that effort, and we are working in partnership with Mission Rebuild Nepal, not only to tackle that project, but to look beyond at how we can do that model community, that model village concept. And so we're going to work together on that. We've worked with the Empower Nepal Foundation, which is based in my home state of Minnesota, to help fund a medical mission to the Sum Valley, which desperately needed support after the quake, and we've been able to help to provide that. We are working with Mighty Nepal, which many people know, of course.
Right.
And they say, oh, well, but that's about human trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
But there is no one more vulnerable
Mm-hmm.
than the young girls and women in the earthquake-affected areas as these predators descend after disaster and seek to lure them into a life that will ultimately end up being a life of sexual bondage.
Mm-hmm.
Working together to address these problems. We're working with the Nepal Youth Foundation
Mm-hmm.
on a program called Kinship Care
Mm-hmm.
to ensure that children who were orphaned in the earthquake
Mm-hmm.
or whose parents were so seriously injured that they cannot provide for the family, that the children have an opportunity to stay with family members
Mhm.
rather than to go into institutions. We're working, you mentioned Sumana Parshu, and the International Development Institute. Together we're working on a program to encourage inclusive tourism in Nepal,
Mhm.
to demonstrate that Nepal is open for business, to encourage economic growth through tourism,
Mhm.
but also to develop this niche market of tourism for those who are physically challenged, but who can have the opportunity to visit and enjoy Nepal and its tremendous beauties and its rich culture. And in doing that, we not only grow the economy and perhaps open a new tourism market for Nepal, but we also send a message that the 500,000 Nepalis who also face physical challenges, if we can find ways to bring them into society as well and draw upon their skills and their expertise, because they have much to offer also. So these are just examples of the many different things that we are seeking to do. We're looking at business incubators. We're looking at programs with Cornell University that has a partner earthquake recovery project with Nepal up on Pukri Bridge, right between Nuwakot and Rasua.
Right.
And we're looking to see what we can do there to bring, again, a holistic and a novel, a different approach to redevelopment and reconstruction. Again, working consistently with government objectives, but recognizing that government has its role, but I think foundations like ours also have a role to play. And if we can be that catalyst, if we can help to leverage other people's money that's already out there and
Right.
put it to good work, and if we can be that voice for Nepal, this is important.
You just mentioned about Nepal tourism.
Mhm.
Since I am also HPR, called Public Relations Representative for Americas from the Nepal government and Nepal Tourism Board here, how can I help in your in your process, and what can you do to help Nepal tourism?
Well, now that's a good question. I think one of the great challenges that we had when I was ambassador, I can remember bringing groups together, sit around the table in my home, to talk about how we would grow different sectors of the economy, and one of them was tourism. And it is finding the way to market Nepal and to build this awareness and to encourage people to go to Nepal is always a challenge, and especially now after the earthquake. So perhaps you and I can sit down together and strategize on the sort of public relations campaign that will bring that awareness. I think that this trek that we're going to do, we're going to be offering a trek for wounded heroes, both U.S. military veterans and also other folks who have suffered debilitating injuries, but to give them the chance to go to Nepal. And we already know that we've got some of the travel magazines and others very interested in the story. And if we can show this tremendous story of Nepal being open for business, and there is something compelling about giving these individuals the chance to show what they are capable of to the world and to themselves, and to do that against a backdrop of Fishtail Mountain, or up in the Solokhumbu, or wherever it may be, and to tell these stories, this matters as well. But I do think a lot of it comes down to finding those right partnerships, getting people engaged, and making them realize that the story of Nepal isn't just a story about earthquakes. It's not a story of a nation that is a victim, it's a story of hope. It's a story of what we can build for the future, and that's a story that we're trying to tell.
Honorable Ambassador, you just mentioned about warrior, veterans. Through IDI, I'm working with IDI also. I'm one of the member of IDI. So we are trying to bring wounded warrior also to visit Nepal. So what do you suggest to Nepal government or Nepali diaspora that what can be done?
One of the biggest challenges at the moment, and I'm with you because I'm out working, as you know, I'm working on the same project.
Right.
The challenge is going to be to raise the funding that we need to give these folks the opportunity to travel to Nepal. That is what Sorway is committed to doing. We are a 501c3 charitable foundation. You know, any donations are tax deductible. I am just about to launch a fundraiser for this Wounded Warrior effort, to send this team to Nepal. Sorway Foundation hopes to raise somewhere between $50,000 and $75,000 so that these veterans, these disabled partners, these heroes will have a chance to go and experience Nepal and tell Nepal's story in the process. And I've already reached out and we're talking to various corporate entities with business related to either tourism, to outdoor wear, and a couple of them have expressed at least some interest, and even if it's to donate some apparel, equipment, other things that we can offer as prizes to donors, as we do the fundraiser. So stay tuned. Follow the Sorway Foundation page. Follow us on Facebook. We'll be posting the information about the Wounded Warrior Trek, and I hope that we can find within the diaspora those folks who want to give something back, both to Nepal and to those folks who have defended our own nation, because this is about a partnership between the U.S. and Nepal.
Wow. Yeah, I know where to go now.
Yes, and I will be posting that in the next day or so.
Sure.
I've already created it. We were just waiting for the marathon to end, which was another fundraising effort on behalf of Nepal, to launch this effort specifically for the Wounded Warrior Trek.
Wow.
And that's coming next.
Going back to rebuilding Nepal.
Right.
Nepal has been highly criticized by the international community for the slow process of distributing the materials and rebuilding Nepal or earthquake victim. How would you characterize that process?
I have not been sitting on the ground, so I'm always very hesitant to speak without first-hand knowledge completely. I did have a chance, though, to meet with the NRA, the National Reconstruction Authority, when I was in Kathmandu in March. I spoke with Mr. Giyawali. I've spoken to a variety of other folks. And let me say this, Ramji. I know how frustrating it is. All of us want to see these folks who have been affected by the earthquake. We want to see them in new homes. We want to see them rebuilding their lives and recreating their communities. We want to see that happen yesterday. That's always true, and I know that. So we're always frustrated when it doesn't move as quickly as we'd like to see. I also recognize how complex this process is, and to do it right, to ensure that the money is spent correctly, to ensure that it is not wasted, that it is not stolen. All of these things do take time. Some folks that I've spoken to actually have suggested to me that Nepal is not that far behind where other countries similarly placed have been in this process. I don't know whether that's fully accurate or not. I know that there is a need and a desire to see this move forward as expeditiously as possible. I know that there are designs in place now. I just reached out to Mr. Giyawali the other day, in fact, to inquire, because we've got some partners, private sector partners, who have a very strong design that I know that they're looking at the NRA. We want to see if that's being included. But while I join everyone in saying we hope that this will move forward quickly and transparently and effectively, and it is important, and Mr. Giyawali and I have talked about the need to make sure that they're telling people what they're doing, the efforts they've made to document all of the homes that were destroyed, to take photos, to know what they're doing, to explain this to people. And they need to tell their story effectively as well. But even as government continues to work on this, I would say to you that this is where partners like the Sorway Foundation, Mission Rebuild Nepal, Cornell University and others are also working with communities to explore avenues to meet immediate needs, to build transitional shelters, to help accommodate the needs that have to be addressed right now, and we'll continue to do that. I leave it to those who are dealing directly with government to address those issues with government. As I say, I am now a charitable foundation, but we're cognizant of this, and I hope that this will move forward quickly.
You answer my next question saying, whatever the Survey Foundation is doing in Nepal for rebuilding post earthquake work. But how would you do that? Government is not even able to doing it themselves. So what is your thought on that? What is your idea on it?
Well, again, the challenge is Sorway, when we talk about rebuilding, there are 600,000 homes that need to be rebuilt. We're talking billions of dollars. This is not the role for a foundation like Sorway. What we can do, though, again, is to work on innovative designs. We can work with, there are some communities, for example, who are poised and ready to go the minute the government says, all right, now we're starting to release the funds, which they said they are starting to do, right? And so if we can help them to begin that process, if we are ready with the approved designs, with resources available to help them get the materials they need in and to begin the rebuilding process. We've worked together, for example, with communities. I've watched Cornell looking at Pukri Bridge, where they are creating community labor pools, essentially, that will share labor. A group of households that will come together to facilitate the rebuilding, because the labor costs have gone up considerably in Nepal, right? But if communities provide their own labor, this is going to help tremendously. If we can reuse materials, if we are poised and ready, and we recognize that a grant of 200,000 rupees, this is going to be important to people, but it's not necessarily everything that they're going to need. So we're poised to complement that, to find cost-effective ways of doing it, and that won't be for 600,000 homes. But if we can come up with good models that work well on Pukri Ridge, that work well in Sindupal Chowk, that work well in Kavre or Gorkha, good models, other communities can draw upon that and build upon this, because government knows that as they move forward, individuals will be building their homes, not government. So we want to help individuals get good information, have good plans, have folks who can give them the technical support and assistance, and to make things happen quickly. Sorway can't do that throughout the entire country, but we can begin that process. And although we can't do everything, no group can. I truly believe that if we can touch 1,000 homes, 1,000 families, 2,000 families, each one is a step forward. If we say, oh, this is too big, we can't do it. Oh, it's too daunting, then nothing ever happens. So you do what you can. You begin where you are and build from there. And that's what we're going to do. And I hope we'll have an impact. I hope we'll make a difference.
Honorable Ambassador, going back to the ambassador term, what was your highest points and lowest point in Nepal during your ambassadorship?
Oh, the highest points. There were so many. I was at 14,000 feet. Then maybe that's the highest. No, on one of our treks up into Solukhumbu. No, I think among the highlights of my tenure there. Let me just say, one of the things that so often gets overlooked as people get caught up in the politics and the drama is the good work, the quiet work, the steady work of development. And the work that we did as the United States of America, I was tremendously proud of. The work that we did in health, in women's health, in maternal and child health, reducing infant mortality, all of these things had a real impact. Work that we did in agriculture. And I saw families, I can still remember, down in the Terai, sitting in a field with female farmers who were growing new crops, high-value crops, with a little bit of help, a little bit of training. And suddenly they said, you know what? We're doing so well. My husband doesn't have to go to work in India this year. He can stay home and we can build this farm together. We can build a future together. These are good things, but two big things stood out for me. One was the opportunity to begin the process that continues to this day and that we must continue of earthquake risk reduction and preparedness and mitigation. Knowing that we're going to have challenges ahead, trying to save lives in advance, thinking this through. And this is something that was central to my work when I was in Nepal, and I'm very proud of the work that we did. And I know that we made a difference in this last quake, and I hope we can continue to make a difference in the future through Soarway. I know the U.S. government continues to do this as well. The other thing that we did that I thought was particularly important and that I still talk about often was we created the first youth advisory council for a U.S. embassy, I think almost anywhere in the world. And we began to build partnerships with young people. For in a country where 70% or more of the population was under the age of 30, if we didn't find a way to engage young people, to empower them, to help them to care, to give them the tools that they will need to lead, because they're going to lead. Eventually they will lead.
Sure.
We failed Nepal, we failed everyone. So the partnership with youth was tremendously important. For me, the low point, I think that while we engaged on the political challenges, and there were many, and that was good work, and it was constructive work. And I think we helped to facilitate issues like how did we deal with the former combatants in their cantonments and reintegrating them into society? And we made progress on all of those things. But shortly before I left, when there was the vote on the Constitution, and it failed again. Now, I know we've made progress since then, but I think for me that was a disappointing moment because we knew how important it was for Nepal to begin to shape its political identity, the role of governance in society. And we knew the failure to reach agreement in May of 2012, shortly before I left, set the process back and made it that much more difficult. And it's hard to build a nation to address economic issues, development issues, earthquake preparedness, if there's not the political stability that allows people to focus on governance rather than on a competition over how to distribute power and build for the future. So that was probably, in some ways, my low point, I would say.
Well, it's widely said that India has biggest influence in Nepal government and politics. Political party or government influenced by them for sure. During your ambassadorship, was there any pressure? US government says one thing, Indian government says another.
I never worried about that, Rambi. I will tell you honestly, when I arrived in Nepal, I remember we had gone through a period, we'd had about 10 months without an ambassador in country. And it was just a question of my predecessor ambassador, Powell, had been asked to come back to Washington to take on a new job. And so we had to catch up with the process. So when I arrived, I remember people saying, "Oh, the United States doesn't care about Nepal. You only care about India." And so we essentially had outsourced our foreign policy, our interest in Nepal, to India. That was wrong. I sought to make sure people understood it was wrong. Does India have its views? Of course they do. And we also work with India, we work with China, we work with many countries. But we also care about Nepal. We had our own foreign policy for Nepal. And irrespective of whether or not my Indian colleague and I always agreed, sometimes we didn't, sometimes we didn't. Sometimes we would see things slightly differently, not a huge surprise. We acted in the interests of the United States and our relationship with Nepal. And that's what drove our engagement in Nepal. You're always aware of what your partners around the world and in the region are doing and thinking, and you always try to be respectful of everyone. But even if we disagreed, it never worried me. My job was to represent the United States of America and to advance our interests, and not to worry unduly about either India or China or your other, or Nepal's two very big neighbors. We got to be the third leg of the stool sometimes, I guess.
Ambassador, as you know, the US-Nepal relationship has been over 60 years.
Yes.
And many ups and downs. We have seen during this process, or looking at as an ambassador, what Nepal has to do to improve relationship with the U.S.
That's an interesting question. I'll try to answer it to a degree, Ram. But again, I'm no longer representing the government, and so I hesitate to go too much into these things.
Right.
But what I would say is, it was always important for Nepal to look at its own interests, to define itself in its own terms. I found that so often many, perhaps in the political leadership, defined Nepal in terms of India, or they defined Nepal in terms of China, or this very challenging relationship, rather than really sitting and assessing and just saying, where are Nepal's interests? What is our role in the world? It is a role that is beyond just the country of Nepal. You are an actor on a global stage as well. You don't have to do anything special to improve your relationship with the United States, other than, again, continue to work together on issues where we have shared values and a shared vision of a future. And I do think there are many commonalities. I think that we believe in the importance of democracy and people's voices being heard, of rights being respected, of allowing all the diverse communities in Nepal to be part of the nation's future and its growth. And we will work with you on all of these things. So for U.S. Nepal, this is not an issue.
Right.
Nepal needs to find its own voice, though, and its own confidence in engaging the world as it moves forward. And I think too often, while I was there, Nepal was both buffeted by the internal political tensions and uncertainty, which made it very hard to define Nepal's role in the world. So I would hope that Nepal will find both that formula for moving forward as a federal democratic republic, how that is going to be structured and what that will look like, and in doing so will then be able to better define its voice and its role both in the region and in the world and in its engagement with its partners.
उहाँ हुनुहुन्थ्यो नेपालका लागि पूर्व अमेरिकी राजदूत स्कट एच डेलिसी। यस कुराकानीको बाँकी अंश हामी आगामी हप्ता प्रस्तुत गर्नेछौँ। आदरणीय दर्शकवृन्द, यहाँहरूलाई थाहै छ कि सगरमाथा टेलिभिजनको एक मुख्य उद्देश्य हो नेपाली समुदायमा सेवा पुर्याउनु, जसमा हामीले ट्याक्स सम्बन्धी जानकारी, कानुनी परामर्श, मेडिकल टिप्स, धार्मिक जानकारी तथा अन्य कार्यक्रम प्रस्तुत गर्दै आएका छौँ। त्यसै अनुरूप अब पालो छ कानुनी परामर्शको, जसलाई प्रस्तुत गर्दै हुनुहुन्छ कानुनविद वन्दिता दाहाल।
नमस्कार। सगरमाथा टेलिभिजन हेर्नुहुने समस्त दर्शकवृन्दमा दाहाल एन्ड एसोसिएट्सका तर्फबाट म इमिग्रेसन एटर्नी वन्दिता दाहालको हार्दिक अभिवादन। सधैँ चाहिँ यहाँ आज पनि यहाँहरू सामु इमिग्रेसन सम्बन्धी केही जानकारीमूलक कार्यक्रम लिएर म उपस्थित भएकी छु। र आजको विषय एउटा हामी नेपालीहरूलाई र भनौँ मेरो अधिकांश नेपाली क्लाइन्टहरूलाई बारम्बार पर्ने एउटा समस्या अथवा भनौँ एउटा क्युरियोसिटीको कुरा हो, जस्तो कि नेसनल भिजा सेन्टरमा गएपछि केसमा चाहिँ युजुअली रेगुलरभन्दा बढी टाइम लागिरहेको हुन्छ। त्यसको बारेमा के हो, कसरी छिटो गर्ने, एक्सपेडाइट कसरी गर्न सकिन्छ र कुन कुराहरूलाई ध्यान दिनुपर्छ भन्ने कुरा। अब नेसनल भिजा सेन्टर भनेकै के हो त भन्दाखेरि, जब हामीले इमिग्रेन्ट पेटिसन फाइल गर्छौँ, इमिग्रेसन पेटिसन फाइल गरेर युएससिआइएसबाट अप्रुभ हुन्छ। इमिग्रेसन पेटिसन भन्ने बित्तिकै I-130 अथवा I-140, I-130 र I-140, I-140 भनेको इम्प्लोइमेन्ट बेस्ड, I-130 भनेको फ्यामिली बेस्ड होइन। यो फाइल भएर जब अप्रुभ हुन्छ, अप्रुभ भइसकेपछि त्यो फाइल चाहिँ नेसनल भिजा सेन्टरमा जान्छ। नेसनल भिजा सेन्टरले चाहिँ के गर्छ भने युएससिआइएसमा हुन्जेलसम्म चाहिँ टाइमको चाहिँ के हुन्छ भने अल्दो प्रोज एन्ड कन्स अलिकति लामो भए तापनि टाइमको चाहिँ जब युएससिआइएसले कुनै पनि केसमा चाहिँ अप्रुभल गरिसक्छ, ठ्याक्क 1 महिनामा चाहिँ हामीलाई एउटा केस नम्बर भनेर दिन्छ। त्यो केस नम्बर दिइसकेपछि चाहिँ त्यो केस चाहिँ नेसनल भिजा सेन्टरमा पठाउँछ होइन। नेसनल भिजा सेन्टरमा गएपछि हामीले पहिलो कुरा त्यो केसको चाहिँ भिजा फी तिर्न पर्ने हुन्छ। जस्तो पहिला चाहिँ अब सेल्फ पेटिसनको केसेसहरू छ भने होइन एकजना एप्लिकेन्ट हुन्छ त्यही मान्छे बेनिफिसियरी हुन्छ तर जब नेसनल भिजा सेन्टरमा जान्छ त्यो बेनिफिसियरीको परिवारको हरेक सदस्यलाई चाहिँ एज एन एप्लिकेन्ट ट्रिट गरिन्छ है अनि सबैजनाले चाहिँ भिन्दै गरेर एप्लिकेसन फी तिर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ र एप्लिकेसन फी तिरिसकेपछि उनीहरूलाई चाहिँ सिभिल र फाइनेन्सियल डकुमेन्ट चाहिँ हामीले सब्मिट गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ अब जो मान्छेले सेल्फ पेटिसन गरेर I-140 भरेको छ त्यो मान्छेलाई चाहिँ फाइनेन्सियल डकुमेन्ट रिक्वायर्ड हुँदैन सिभिल डकुमेन्ट्सहरू मात्रै सिभिल डकुमेन्ट्स भनेको कस्तो भन्दाखेरि बर्थ सर्टिफिकेट पुलिस रिपोर्ट म्यारिज सर्टिफिकेट पासपोर्टको कपी र पासपोर्ट साइज फोटो र त्यसमा एडिसनल चाहिँ फाइनेन्सियल डकुमेन्ट हुन्छ जब फ्यामिली बेस्ड पेटिसन हुन्छ अनि यो बेलामा चाहिँ नेसनल भिजा सेन्टरले एकदमै दुःख दिन्छ किनभने सानो सानो कुराको लागि पनि ब्याक एन्ड फोर्थ आइरहेको हुन्छ र उनीहरूको टाइमिङ के हुन्छ भने एउटा कुनै पनि इन्फर्मेसन पठाउने बित्तिकै 1 महिनासम्म उनीहरूले हाम्रो केस टचै गर्दैन अबको 30 दिनपछि मात्रै अझ 30 दिन पनि अहिले त कस्तो गर्छ भने उनीहरूको एकदमै धेरै क्यूमा केसेस भएर 60 डेज सो हामीले अगाडि प्रिमियम प्रोसेसिङ गरेर 15 दिनमा अप्रुभ भएको केस पनि यहाँ गएर चाहिँ लामो समय अड्किन्छ त्यस हिसाबले चाहिँ हामीले प्रिपेयर गर्दाखेरि पहिला नै यदि कतिवटा कुराहरुमा चाहिँ एकदमै केयरफुल भएर डकुमेन्टहरु राइटली प्रिपेयर गर्यो भने चाहिँ सजिलो हुन्छ हैन आफ्नो बर्थ सर्टिफिकेट लिँदाखेरि पनि किन नेपालमा चाहिँ एउटा मैले फिल गरेको के भने कन्सिस्टेन्ट बर्थ सर्टिफिकेट हुँदैन गाविसबाट आएको अथवा भनौं जिल्लाबाट आएको बर्थ सर्टिफिकेटहरु र काठमाडौँको कतिपय ठाउँबाट आएको बर्थ सर्टिफिकेटहरुमा चाहिँ कति सिमिल्यारिटिजहरु हुँदैन हैन सो नेशनल भिजा सेन्टर चाहिँ के माग्छ त भन्दाखेरि पहिला नोभेम्बर 2014 भन्दा अगाडि चाहिँ हामीले ओरिजिनल बर्थ र म्यारेज सर्टिफिकेट उनीहरुलाई दिन्थ्यौं र इन्टरभ्यूको क्रममा उनीहरुले फर्काउँथ्यो है अहिले चाहिँ नयाँ नियम अनुसार के छ भन्दा यसको चाहिँ फोटोकपी पनि उनीहरुले लिन्छ सो हामीले हाम्रो प्र्याक्टिसमा चाहिँ हाम्रो ल फर्मबाट हामीले के गर्छौं भन्दाखेरि बर्थ सर्टिफिकेटको चाहिँ ओरिजिनल नेपालीमा जुन आछ त्यो अनि ट्रान्सलेसन ओरिजिनल हैन कि बर्थ सर्टिफिकेटबाट चाहिँ नेपालीमा जुन आछ त्यो कपी हैन त्यसको चाहिँ कलर कपी साथसाथै ट्रान्सलेसनको चाहिँ नोटराइज गरेको ट्रान्सलेसनको चाहिँ ओरिजिनल कपी त्यो हाल्छौं है पुलिस रिपोर्ट चाहिँ हामीले ओरिजिनल सबमिट गर्ने गरेका छौं अनि पासपोर्टको कपी भइहाल्यो अनि पासपोर्ट साइज फोटोहरु त्यति गरिसकेपछि वन्स उनीहरुलाई हामीले त्यो सबमिट गरिसकेपछि अनि एफिडेभिट अफ सपोर्टको फर्ममा पनि सानो सानो कुराहरु पनि वी हैव टु टिक एभ्रीथिङ त्यो सबै गरेर उनीहरुलाई जब स्याटिस्फाई हुन्छ त्यसपछि अनि कम्प्लिट भएर केस चाहिँ एम्बेसीमा जान्छ सो आफ्नो केस एक्सपेडाइट गर्नको लागि मेक श्योर कि यो सबै डकुमेन्ट्सहरु पहिला नै कम्पाइल गरेर पठाउनु होला त्यति भन्दै आजको कार्यक्रमबाट म बिदा लिन चाहन्छु धन्यवाद
Don't go away, we'll be back.
Sagarmatha Television.
Namaste, my name is Brisha Preti and you're watching Sagarmatha Television. Keep watching.
अमेरिका नेपाल वुमेन्स एसोसिएसन अफ ग्रेटर वाशिंगटन डीसीद्वारा सञ्चालित निशुल्क स्वास्थ्य शिविरमा डाक्टर महेश्वर वैद्य आर्यन मन्जु संग्रौला तथा आर्यन सुनिता श्रेष्ठ सहितको टोलीले निशुल्क स्वास्थ्य सेवा उपलब्ध गराइरहेको हुँदा उक्त सेवाको उपयोग गर्न यस स्क्रिनमा भएका नम्बरहरूमा सम्पर्क गर्नुहोला।
माला
is a great place for tourism. I'm happy to tell you that America, especially the United States, ranks third in sending tourists to Nepal after India and China. One of the main reasons why people go to Nepal is definitely we have big mountains, huge mountains. It's not only that, Nepal is also a birthplace of Lord Gautam Buddha. We have one of the best highly competitive safaris in the world, especially in the southern part of Nepal. 24% of Nepal's land area are reserved for national parks. So, and then about 10 World Heritage Sites are in Nepal. So there are numerous advantages of Nepal. So lots of tourists, not only from US, but all over the world, they would like to go to Nepal. And thank you for coming to Nepal, and we hope to see more Americans going to Nepal in the future.
आदरणीय दर्शकवृन्द, हामी आजको यो विविध सङ्गालो कार्यक्रमको अन्त्यतिर आइपुगेका छौँ। दर्शकवृन्द, सगरमाथा टेलिभिजन तथा नेपाल दर्शन टेलिभिजन तपाईहरूको सहयोग, सल्लाह, सुझाव तथा प्रतिक्रियाहरूको सधैँ अपेक्षा गर्दछ, जसका लागि हाम्रो ठेगाना हो सगरमाथा टेलिभिजन, PO Box 1400, लुटन, भर्जिनिया 22079। हामीलाई फोन गर्न सक्नुहुनेछ। हाम्रो फोन नम्बर हो 703-926-9530। हाम्रो इमेल ठेगाना हो info@nepaltvusa.com। हस्त दर्शकवृन्द, अब यहाँहरू समक्ष नेपाल टुरिज्म बोर्डबाट प्राप्त नेपालका केही रमणीय दृश्यहरू प्रस्तुत गर्दै आजको यो विविध सङ्गालो कार्यक्रमबाट म विपिन राज उप्रेती बिदा चाहन्छु। आगामी कार्यक्रमसम्मका लागि बिदा दिनुहोस्। नमस्ते।
अधिकारी तपाईँहरूले हुनुहुन्छ सगरमाथा टेलिभिजन।
Sagarmatha Television.
Well, viewers, that's all for you today. We hope you've enjoyed today's episode of Sagarmatha Television. Stay tuned to watch Nepal Darshan Television right after this show, right here on M8C Networks. Now, we would like to conclude today's program with this beautiful Nepali song. See you all next week. Until then, this is Indu Porkharel saying goodbye and namaste.